where you guys would chime in and be like, "What the fuck is this shit?" or whatever. And it was just an interesting.
Can I give a shout out? I have to say, Stamper's reviews are my favorite reviews.
His old reviews, absolutely, and Chris's old reviews.
One of Stamper's reviews is just a zero. Mine are, "Ooh, get off the stage." It's the whole review. It just says, "Get off the stage."
Mine are malicious. Like I look at a flash and I broke it down, I was like. I'm like, what is this fucking dribble?
If I can,
trash.
Is this the one where you and a bunch of other friends jumped on and
this would be me going. This would be me like having just like this angsty hatred to anything that fucking sucks, and I would just absolutely rip it apart. But I wouldn't be critical. I wouldn't look at the aspects of it. I would say like I would break it apart. I'd be like 1.5 star because you kind of have like an ounce of talent in this one regard. But I was a douchebag.
I think I've left a few.
Yeah, I was gonna say
mostly positive, but
I'm gonna go ahead and apologize
I feel bad about a few of those.
I specifically, if you look at my reviews for Tone. Those were fucking brutal, man. I look back at
that was actually the thing I was talking about.
The fucking paragraphs are like, the colors are terrible. Are you fucking?
Because it wasn't just one. It was a bunch of them, and everyone jumped on board on that. Aaron got into those too.
I used to love the fucking responses to some reviews. Like there was a kid who made like an epic Mario card. It was called Epic Mario, I think, where it was just like literally Mario like being
epic,
like looking at the camera and like there's 2 steps from hell in the background, and just like and I just left reviews like Mario's not fucking epic, faggot, and the response was like, "Fuck you, you fucking asshole." It's like sorry.
Your review was like, what did you say? You said like, Mario's fat and he's a fat fucking plumber.
He's a fat fucking plumber who fucks your mom. That's all.
Sorry, really quickly. That's actually one of the genius things of the site. Commenting.
Yes.
And then I love that about the site.
And when I released Brawl 4 and people had these scathing reviews, and I'm like, I would just like all this review, and then all I would say is just lol, and then they would get so fucking mad. They would send me 100 PMs, and then I would reply to those with a lol, and it would just piss him off. Or sometimes somebody would do another review, and then like I would be like, "Oh, are you done?" And they would. It's just, it's the best because, but I mean, like there was always times where I would leave a review and I would actually give criticism, and the person would be like, "Well, you're stupid," and I'd be like, "Oh man, I wish I could reply to that person." Have other fucking line of things to say.
What I like about it too is, it's obviously a review system, but like with YouTube, you can just cut whatever you want.
Oh yeah,
you have to think about what you're saying. You can't just like you can do like a one-line thing like, "Well, fuck off, faggot," and that could be a review, but
you're really burning that. Think. When you do it, everyone knows that you had one chance to say something, and you chose to say "lol faggot" or whatever.
And you had like
so it makes you think
4,000 characters. So you could like fucking write the novel you always wanted.
Oh yeah.
Well, Tom, as the creator of Newgrounds, what do you think is the most critical review you've ever left for anything, or do you know?
Have you ever straight up zeroed something with a comment?
In a review?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't know if I've ever zeroed anything with a review. And that's the thing I learned early on, like, and you guys have to experience this too because people look up to you. Like, I learned really early on that if I'm mean to a user, I've created like a serious enemy for life. Because it's different. It's different than just another kid on the site being mean. It's like if you went to Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg was just like Nick Lauer, like more like Nick Fuckface, get off my site. Like, you hate him for life.
Where was this Tom the whole podcast? Hello, welcome.
Mark Zuckerberg, you hate him for the rest of your life, right? It's like that's what happens.
Dude, I'd be like, Zuckerberg fucking called me out.
You look fat in this photo, deleted LOL. Hey, dude, Mark said that, dude. Fucking Mark said that.
Yeah, dude, I would upload like
he'd like hack my account and I'd just be like pictures of like photoshops of me sucking dicks and stuff.
Tom, I have a question. It's a nice little biggest thing you appreciate and that you think you did the best with Nudo is the biggest regret.
Biggest regret?
Biggest regret and also,
losing this guy. No. I was pointing at myself. Best accomplishment? Getting this guy. Let's point at myself again.
He was pointing at his dick.
Excuse me. No, that's not true. I'll let him answer.
Biggest regret? Yeah, like biggest regret is like just the whole decline of it all, like letting myself get too depressed with everything.
You were getting depressed?
Yeah. Oh. No. It's like, it's tough. It's like you feel like you need to project confidence and shit to like, and I feel like I like kind of like wasn't able to project that, and It might not. It probably would have been.
Do you feel like there was a pivotal time when that would have been helpful?
It's hard to say because the way I look at it now is it's like what happened was going to happen no matter what rabbit I pulled out of my hat, I think.
Right. Like SoundCloud was always going to come around. DeviantArt was always going to come around.
Yeah, YouTube and mobile, especially like the whole. I mean, besides the fact that YouTube like cannibalized so much video traffic, just mobile has cannibalized the web. Like websites are dying.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's what I tell myself now is like, it's not like there was some magic 1, 2, 3. Work an extra 20 hours a week and wear a bigger smile or whatever. They could have saved it, but it's always like. I don't know. Yeah, like, there's always like the what could I have done to have made it.
I think that's probably the most frustrating thing is because that question, it's not even like, man, I wish you could go back and kiss Jenny in front of the cafeteria instead of just letting her walk by. This is one of those situations where you don't even know what you would have done.
Well, like one of the big things is like, it's really easy to say if we never allowed porn on the site, we would have had higher paying ad rates, and we would have all those people that hate the site because there's like, there's adult content. It's like, but at the same time, so many people love the site because it had all that content. Because it was
that is Newgrounds.
If you type, I don't know how I know this, but if you type hentai into Google, Newgrounds on the first page.
Yeah, see,
you don't know how you know
I don't know how I know that.
It's not just porno though; it's adult content that you can't. If I have a joke that's legitimately funny that happens to have a pair of titties in it, there's nothing I can do. I can't put it on YouTube. I can't put it on most websites because conflicts with ad companies and. There's very few places that I could put that. It's not necessarily porn. It's just adult content.
It just annoys me that so many people are so put off. Like
everyone's so fucking good.
There was this. I got some email the other day. It was like, see what people are saying about your site on. It was some site for like guiding people through, and it's like I went and go look at it, and like every negative review is like, it's great games animation. But.
Watch out for the
porn. Yeah. It's like go somewhere else. It's like
there's really
come on. It's like don't people realize that the internet is just one click to porn, regardless of what website you're on.
There's porn always hiding around the corner.
Like you can go to Google image search and type a porn word, and you'll get more porn than Newgrounds has ever seen in its entire existence.
You can type a non-porn word.
Yeah,
that's true too. Type in mouth, and you'll get all sorts of fun.
People need to accept that the internet just has porn a click away from wherever you are, and it shouldn't be a big deal that Newgrounds also has it too.
Right.
But anyway, but that is one of the big questions: is like what would have happened. Would we have been taken more seriously? But also the offensive content. I mean, Pico, I kind of screwed things up when I made Pico and Clubacil too, because like people are like,
see, you call both of these things, the porn and Pico, some kind of a possible regret, but I think that is what solidified.
Yeah, that's what made it what it is, but it's also what held it back commercially, and commercially is why it failed recently.
Well, if you wanted to go commercial, we could have just done a whole lot of bitch work and shit that we don't particularly like doing, or then you'd really be fucking miserable.
Yeah, you go work at a bank. If you don't want to deal with that, I mean, I don't know. I feel like, you're still making games, which is great, and Newgrounds does still exist, so.
But as far as proudest thing,
this big thing that you.
Just launching the automated portal was like awesome. Like in 2000, that was really cool. Launching and like unveiling that. That's what was also cool. Is like features. Every feature was just so exciting to launch. In the early days. Where nowadays we could spend a lot of time on a feature and it could have like. Very minimal impact. Like, back then, every feature was like a game changer.
Feature was always my favorite part of Newgrounds.
Yeah.
Like back then, it was always like trying to fight for a spot on the front page. It was always like what everybody wanted to do.
Yeah.
No, but I mean like features in like a new portal. Like the audio.
Now that's a great nerd.
Like one day we added co-author.
But what's the great the proudest moment? Like being in the top 20 most influential sites of Time Magazine, or when your wife logged into Newgrounds and was like, I gotta find the creator of the site and have his babies, or proudest moment of you being.
Well, April and I met in college.
Okay.
So unrelated, but
when you saw the live birth, this little solo baby killer in the bathtub. You ever see videos like that on YouTube?
Zach, your face when you said that.
No, dude, you ever see his videos of the chicks giving birth inside the bathtub, the little goo?
You look like you were staring into another time and space.
Just think about the baby's gonna birth in the bathtub.
You mean like horses?
Look into its eyes.
You mean like horses?
What the fuck is anyone talking about anymore?
I remember I submitted a video to Newgrounds of
You ever see a giraffe
of a
give birth?
horse.
They
It was
fall
like 2
2
guys.
feet.
It was 2 guys who were standing on a tree, and they were like. This is
Tom's proudest moment of Newgrounds was a giraffe giving birth.
No, listen. It was 2 guys
April
sitting on a
dropping
tree.
child
It was 2 guys sitting on a tree,
Seconds come up
and he
with-
was picking his nose, and the guy's like, "That's gross," and he's like,
Good
"No."
lord. Anyways, Tom. Hold
No, hold on. Let me
this
finish.
is
Started it.
Let me finish. So the guy's picking his nose. He's like, "That's gross." He's like, "No." And then he pointed over
It's
there,
gonna
and
be
I actually took an entire YouTube video of a horse having birth with the fucking placenta egg and the blood and everything. And then at the end, the guy's
The
like,
placenta egg.
"Yeah," or something. And then the guy's like, "That's not that bad." And then it was over. And then I submitted it, and it got planned.
Tom, David,
Hold on. The only review.
There's more to this story.
The only review was, "What the fuck was that? A horse having sex?"
Oh wait, Tom left that review?
No, the only review it got was, "What the fuck is that? A horse having sex?"
All right.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, Tom.
No. I guess that's the problem is I don't have moments of pride. I just have moments of like
Hate.
Well, Tom, we're all proud of you, so...
feeling inferior, needing to do better. So,
What was the thing that happened on the site that made you feel the least inferior? What was the least shitty moment of running this goddamn company?
Well, speaking as Tom, I just kind of like the general feeling of being a god.
Yeah, there's like lots of little moments. Like anytime that anyone who's an amazing animator says how they started animating because of Newgrounds, that's like a moment. That's like it's a nice moment of pride.
Was there ever a moment where you got in the car, you were driving home, the wind was blowing in your face, and you just sighed and you were like, "Holy shit! Wow, that's awesome."
Not everyone meditates,
Faggot, Mick.
Yeah, that was a little gay, dude.
That was really gay. Get the fuck. Get off the podcast, move.
Fine, bye. Later.
Mick,
I'm leaving too!
I would say one moment that felt like a pinnacle was, it was so. I guess this was late 2008.
Am I the only one trying here? God damn it, Tom! Spit it out!
Castle Crashers had come out and was a success. Newgrounds was still hanging in there pretty well, and April was newly pregnant, and we went to
Good job, Tommy!
We flew to Japan for the Tokyo Game Show, and I was there on
Fucked
the
your
floor
wife real good.
of our booth. So I'm there at our booth.
That means
at
you
the-
came in her, dude.
Anyway.
You came and your wife.
So I'm at our booth at the Tokyo Game Show and thinking about how when I was a kid I always wanted to go to the CES show. Like this was before E3. Like I always wanted to go to the CES show. It was the Consumer Electronics Show. It was where the video games used to be before E3. And there was a fanzine where they had a contest where you design a game and the best game design would win all their swag from CES. So
When was this?
This was when I was like in like junior high or something. So I created a game which was very prescient. It was called Violin Master. It was like comical, but it was Violin Master. It was basically like Guitar Hero. But and I won the contest and I got this huge package of all the shitty flyers you get at CES. And I worship I had them all out on my floor and I'd look through them all. And it's like I wanted to be like part of all that excitement of like the CES show. So now I was thinking like here I am like with a hit game with our own booth at Tokyo Game Show, which is like the world's ultimate video game convention. And I was like, this is like the moment when I need to like accept that like I've like accomplished like everything you would want to accomplish in life. Because like I wanted to make games, I wanted to go to these shows.
You wanted to make babies?
I've got my my kid on the way.
It's virginity.
Yeah.
That's a great answer.
That was a good moment. That was like the top of it all. Yeah.
Good answer. Good answer. Tom, you've done it all, man. You've done it all.
Yeah.
You've made successful games. You have an awesome company. You fucked your wife.
Now. Do it again.
But better.
Well, that's the neat thing. That's the neat thing about Newgrounds becoming a struggle is, like, a lot of people can have a hit and then that's just it. It never happens again. But I feel like what's happened here has created like a persistent struggle that is hopefully going to fuel another great thing in progress.
Yeah.
That I feel like maybe that wouldn't have happened if you know, if life was too easy.
The bonus is try as much, and life is a lot easier.
See, Stanford's speaking as an expert.
You can just sleep in.
No, it actually is.
He's very skilled.
It's when Newgrounds was at its peak, it was super stressful because at one point we had like 13 people in this office, and it's just really stressful. And it's like I heard like another CEO said once, like it stops being fun at 10 people. And it's like I think that's probably like a good way to look at it. It's like when you don't have like we didn't have like any middle management, and I'm not really like a manager type, but it's like you just got all these people and you're just burning money, and you're realizing that things aren't nothing. It's not like we're making the thing that's making the money that's being burnt or whatever. It's like it's very stressful. So that is the thing about everything being smaller now is like it minimizes like what's hanging over you, the boulder that you're carrying on your shoulder.
That makes sense.
So I'm trying to, and it feels like it's like a recovery period. It almost feels like a trauma that happened that it takes, like you're slowly coming out of it and slowly sort of like healing from.
Well, I have high hopes for the future, mainly because of what you, Jeff, and Corey are working on. Because holy shit, it's fucking amazing, and I really hope that in some way, I don't know how you can rope it back into
Can you say
Newgrounds.
the name of it? Sonic vs. Mario.
The final episode,
big one,
it's been 10 years in the
The
making.
Reckoning.
Reckoning 4.
Guest stars from Kirby and
We got all the best
Metal
Newgrounds
Sonic.
voice actors on this one, dude.
yeah, Cloud. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Well, that was Tom Fulp, America's favorite piece of shit.
All right, guys, listen. It's fucking hot. It's fucking
It is
here.
really
We're
hot.
melting. We're fucking dying. Tom, we thank you so much for joining us. We're gonna cut to a commercial break, and we're gonna be back with the rest of the podcast.
Don't blame me for your orders.
Tired of monkeys coming into your village? Sick of gorillas stealing your bananas? And children? Try beating a monkey with a stick. Beating a monkey with a stick is easy and fun for the whole family. Simply pick up a stick and beat the monkey over the head. Doesn't look like this monkey's gonna be causing any monkey business anytime soon, because it's But wait! Order beating a monkey with a stick in the next 4 seconds, and you'll get smashing a rat with a stump absolutely free. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime offer. Call now to order your very own beating a monkey with a stick. Stick not included.
Welcome back. Wasn't that funny? Oh my gosh. Wow, we are hilarious.
Next up, we've got our questions from our Reddit fans who have given us some awesome topics to debate amongst ourselves.
Yeah, awesome.
And here, you know what? Let's just dive right into this. We don't need to lube this sucker up. I'm just gonna go in dry.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you ready? You ready for this?
I'm not ready for this.
Puppy Nubblies asks, would you recommend?
Terrible name. Fuck that person. I don't even know
Done.
him.
Granite Overworld asks,
Now that one is cool.
would you recommend starting a business with your friends or working with someone else? What are the pros and cons of having your own company?
Here's a life tip for real. Don't live with your friends. Don't work with your friends. Collaborate.
Reliability.
Don't shit on your friend's table.
That too.
Don't shit with your
Reliability.
friends.
Yeah.
Wait, is that a thing that happened, or is that like a metaphor?
It's a metaphor.
Oh, okay.
There's 3 things: reliability, perseverance, and control.
That's Taekwondo.
What? What the hell did you just pull?
Corey,
I learned that when I did Taekwondo when I was 8. They said
Where did that come
exactly
from?
word for
I'm glad
word.
you saved that, Corey. I'm glad you fucking pushed other things out of the way to remember that.
What am I here
Thank you,
for?
Corey. You forgot long division, so you could retain that. You could retain that for fucking 20 years.
3 sayings.
No, but seriously, the answer is,
dude.
I mean, look, it's good to collaborate with your friends, but I would say be independent always, no matter what you're doing. Don't ever be dependent on anybody for anything.
Especially Zach.
Just stop. I'm starting to, my heart's starting to flutter. I did take my medication today.
Your heart's starting to flutter. That means you were loved.
Zach, you never actually told us that you were one of those kids with hearts born outside of the ribcage. Oh yeah.
It's true, they had to push it back in.
They just shoved it back
It was
into
like,
the
one of those little, those rubber balls.
Yeah.
How come they never
Just
fixed
pops
it like
in the other
that?
way.
Just like tuck it back in between the ribs.
Tape over, put a sock over it, dude. one can see it now. It's fun.
Just threw a new ground sticker. All right. Next up, we've got Granite Overworld, and he. Granite Overworld asks. Zach sort of offhandedly mentioned he was a huge LSD fiend on the podcast. I was wondering if he could go into more details about his experience.
I mentioned it in episode
Suicide Cooking, fun time.
Yeah, to make it brief, basically, college, crazy college days. With my buddy, we took it wasn't exactly pure whatever, but it was like a shitty like chemical off-brand. It did the same stuff, but it wasn't
Brand XL.
Yeah, it was like fucking without Thunder for LSD.
It had some weird name like
Dr. Thunder for LSD. I mean,
they had the weird like medical names like
it was like XD. I mean, whatever. So I did that. There was a lot of interesting things. The way we knew we were high was my friend had these colorful coat hanger or clothes hangers, and they were like colorful plastic ones, and those glowed. Everything glowed perfectly, so we could tell we were high because we look at it.
Yeah.
We both experienced the same thing too. So it was like, oh, look at the coat. I was like, oh yeah, of course. Like our reality changed in the exact same direction.
That's interesting.
So that was
it means that it was like affecting the same sensory parts of your brain.
For example, the most interesting example of that was I saw writing on the walls. And I wasn't scared. I was like, dude, there's writing over the fuck. He's like, yeah, we were trying to like decipher it. It was just really weird. It was a weird mutual. I was coherent. I wasn't like, whoa,
Yeah, like you saying it triggered it with him.
Yeah, it was like you put like an Oculus Rift or something. It was like I was here mentally the same, but my reality shifted a good 5 steps that way, and his did too. So it was interesting.
So do you recommend it?
I would say do a real version. Don't do a shitty one that can like give you a seizure and kill you. But yeah, I think if you don't have any kind of disorders, look into it. Because some people have something wrong with their brain where if they take a certain drug, it clicks your brain the wrong way, you're a fucking psycho, or it fucks with your vision or whatever.
Yeah.
But I would say if you're a regular person, it's a good experience. At least do it once. I think if you.
Zach Hadel advocating drugs on the podcast.
Do bad.
So as far as drugs go, like I do feel like people should experience one psychedelic in their life to know the difference. Because when I first did it, I actually had. It's kind of really weird to say, but it's kind of like a. Do you remember back in like the Manson family?
Oh yeah.
I know it sounds crazy.
I don't know where this goes.
Did you fucking stab her 50 times?
The girls like recollect like situations where Manson gave them drugs, and he was kind of like their trip partner. Who would take them through the trip, and he was completely sane in this like crazy world.
Yeah, he was a complete hippie, wasn't he?
I was kind of in the same experience where the first time I did it, I had a trip partner who followed me, who was completely neutral through everything, and he was like, "Yeah, you're just experiencing stuff." And since I was the first time doing it, I was losing my mind. By the way, I didn't do LSD, I did mushrooms.
Yeah.
So I did a more safer version of a psychedelic, and if I could recommend anything, I would recommend doing mushrooms, because pure LSD can like really fuck you up in some ways. Where it can.
Well, it also depends on what you take. Everything too.
I've heard good things about mushrooms.
Mushrooms it's just like food poisoning.
You said you took Molly. I had ecstasy once, except I took it when I was with a load of scumbags, and I started like one of them was like, I don't know, he like rapped or something, and he was kind of shit. But I kept telling him how absolutely like he's great. He's gonna be the next.
Like all the sounds are enhanced, all colors are enhanced. So when you hear someone who's like very tone deaf, they sound like a fucking American Idol. Like they're really good. You hear them hit like fucking retardandos and all those crazy musical words I kind of pull out of my ass and know nothing about.
Retardandos.
He's trying to say like
retardando. It's where you
something.
kind of slow down or something.
But I would say, to build up the Corey said, kind of wrap it up, I would definitely say, I'm not the best guy to ask for drug advice, but I would definitely say if you're going to do it with somebody who knows what they're doing, who's not a scumbag, who's if not sober, at least has a good grasp on how to deal with things. Be in a good environment. Be like in a nice, comfortable house that you're familiar with. If you're kind of in a weird place, you might get a weird.
Those things get accentuated.
Exactly. Yeah, you feel. Yeah, exactly.
Avoid the 3 bad drugs like heroin, crack, and meth.
God, crack's not so bad.
Crack's not the worst, to be honest.
Come on.
It's not
It's
good.
really addictive, though.
It's not good, but it's certainly not the worst.
Well, it's not the worst, but those are the 3
I would say heroin's far worse than crack, right?
Crocodile.
Absolutely.
Crocodile's probably the worst.
But crack has
Wait, is that the one where the people are running around naked?
No, that's bath salts. But crocodile is the one that rots your arm off and like because you inject it.
It's like a Russian one, right?
What?
I think it's
like
big in
paint?
Russia, right?
Yeah, that's where
Huge in Russia. These guys like, my arm is rotting off, and their fucking bones are like, but the eye was very good, but their arms are fucking
pretty good.
No, but if you are ever going to do drugs, the number one thing I would say is make sure that you trust the person that you're getting it from. Whether it's your friend who trusts the person that they're getting it from, but you never fucking
Don't go with no rapist, dude. They're gonna rape you. What do you think?
They're gonna take you to a back alley and rape you. But seriously, if you are gonna have anything, if you are gonna experiment, it's not like anyone can really stop you. Just make sure. And part of being safe is knowing what the fuck you're taking and who you got it from.
Stamper, give your drug advice. Go.
Be naughty, do drugs.
Yeah. Fuck you, Reagan. Fuck you, Nancy Reagan.
As long as you do drugs, you just need a designated driver and you're set.
My drug advice is you have to make sure no one's looking when they go to the bathroom.
Yo, Stamper, 1, 2, 3, do weed. Stamper, 1, 2, 3, do weed. 1, 2, 3, do weed. 1, 2, 3, do weed. Do weed, dude. Come on, what are you waiting for? Fucking
right.
When you want your tit sag so long.
I feel like that was genuinely just saying drugs are good.
What?
I feel like that's what the whole thing there was.
We just said be safe for 30
Drugs
minutes.
are good.
No, look, if people are gonna do them, then they're gonna do them.
True,
Just
okay.
be safe when you do them. I wouldn't look. I'm not advocating go out and do it, but the truth is that there's
If
gonna be
you're
a
going to
part
do
of
it anyways,
Right.
be safe.
There's a reason why they're called drugs.
Right.
Because they're epic.
Excuse me? What? What do you mean?
Because they're
The only one to drug it. Listen, Colin, fuck you. I quit.
Listen, Zach. Pops collar, takes off sunglasses in room. Woo! Next question.
Deal with it. Forgot to say deal with it.
That dude, bro, asks, when you were kids, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Police officer.
An artist.
Stop the bad guys.
Really? Mm-hmm. First thing I wanted to be was a dinosaur, then a wizard, then a bunny rabbit, and
I did want to be a fire trucker.
And then you want to be not autistic, right?
That was my dream. That dream is still going.
Everyone wanted to be a fireman at one point.
Yeah. I wanted to be a bin man though, the guy who goes collect the garbage.
Why?
I don't know. I just saw them around the place, and I was like, "Mom, I want to be that." She's like, "Well, that's not faith
Oh boy. I don't know.
Well, even as a young child, you set very, very moderate and humble goals for yourself.
Well, the bunny rabbit was kind of ambitious.
Yeah.
Little
Ted. It's like firefighter president rabbit. I think it was.
I never wanted
Rabbit
to be
/dinosaur /robot.
I never wanted to be a firefighter. I never wanted to be a policeman.
I wanted to be
an artist.
I wanted to be an astronaut.
But I thought artist meant painting pictures. I didn't know artist was
creative.
Yeah, I always thought I wanted to be an artist, but then I didn't know there was a cartoonist and an animator and all these other variations to creating art. And I was like, no, I want to be a cartoonist. And now I'm like, no, I want to be an animator.
I wanted to be a comic artist for the longest time, and I do recall very distinctly drawing a bunch of Mario cartoons.
Oh, me too.
Where it was Mario and Luigi and Mario and other variations of Mario, in different colors.
I used to go to the store, go to Walmart and buy 500 sheet, those packs of 500 sheet things. And I'd have my own stapler in my room, and I would just take 20 sheets of paper after I've drawn in them, and I'd staple them together. I'd make my comic, and I'd stash them in my little white thing. And over the years, I built a huge things of comics, and I did it till I was 15.
Yeah.
And the autism was still growing inside of me. And then when I hit 16, I was like, what the fuck? Because I had 400 comics, and then I found out about the internet.
I did the same thing, Corey. I actually have some of the new ones.
Oh yeah, you showed. Wait, did you scan them? What was it?
No, that was real. That was the original thing from 10 years ago.
I also used.
Guy.
Well, yeah, no, that was a huge influence at the time.
I also used to take MS Paint and draw a stickman walking across, and I would have the canvas be 14,000 in height, because there was no limit in MS Paint, and then I would take the little side-scrolling ball after drawing 100,000 pictures and just scroll down.
I was crazier, Corey. You know what I did? Movie Maker, and I took MS Paint and I would draw actual different frames and put them together.
I did that later. I did that later with my first Blink 182 music video.
Yeah. I was full artistic like you. I made 20 episodes of this show, and they were all 5 minutes each. It was just I don't know why I worked on it. It was
Chris was learning fucking 3D and how to animate really well.
Yeah, I was doing fucking Movie Maker.
When you were 15, I was like, oh, look at my Blink 182 music video, and you were doing some fucking 3D animation.
I was using that program that's free, Animator, with an 8 in the middle.
It was sweet. What the shit you did was sweet.
It wasn't.
Well, better than what I was doing.
I was actually, when I was also younger too, when I was probably 13, 14, I made a bunch of games. I used to kind of skip
board games.
Yeah,
no, like Flash games and stuff. I used to do
that too. I used to steal Newgrounds games with the Swifty compiler. And
I did too. But eventually I started to learn how they actually work. So I'd start to actually kind of build games. I had Game Maker 8 or Game Maker 4, whatever.
It was like RPG Maker.
I use
out of the
RPG
box
Maker too.
things.
I was obsessed with RPG Maker.
I used RPG Maker, I used Game Maker 8 or Pro, whatever the fuck it was. I used Flash. I also, there was a really, really, really shitty program. It was one of the first ones I used. It was called 3D Game Maker. I made a game with the tomato character, and you fought like big bees, and you shot like little fireballs. I was really gay, but I was so proud of it.
Do you remember Click and Play?
What's that? I don't think I used that
Click
one.
and Play, that was like the same thing. You just like, it's like MS Paint, except you can just make like really, really terrible games. Like a Stickman just like floating across a screen and going into a house, and then it changes scene and stuff. I used to do that all the time.
Remember I told you about Furcadia?
Yeah.
Did I ever say I made a bar in Furcadia that people used to come into?
You made a bar? You actually created a bar?
15 or 14.
Was it a sex bar?
No,
it turned into one.
This is not a joke. It was a Nintendo bar, where people and I had to learn a thing called Dragon Speak, which was like coding for Furcadia, so that like you'd make it so that when people walk into an object, like text would come up and say what it was. So I had all these like stolen JPEGs of all the Nintendo consoles, all on pedestals in the bar, so that people